is very straightforward. Determine the value of A, right? Now here we are given the equation. So what you do is say g of x, this is 6.2.1, g of x equals to A sine x. Now to calculate A, remember A can be the amplitude. In this case, it will be the amplitude. That is the distance from here to there, which is from 4 to 0. Right? So we don't need to do a calculation. That's why it's 1 mark. So A is going to be equal to 4. It is also this distance. Right? Or you can do a calculation if you want. Y max minus Y minimum. Like since we are starting with a maximum turning point, it means the value of A must be positive because the graph is starting from the origin there, and then it starts with Y values that are positive. So because of that crest, it means A is going to be positive. If this crest had been reflected about the x-axis, then A was going to be negative. Remember, A is not the amplitude, it is a stretch factor, right? Okay? So A is going to be a 4, right? So A is equal to 4. Then the next question says, if the graph of G, which is this graph, is translated by 2 units upwards to obtain a new graph H, write down the range of H. So for 6.2.2, my suggestion is determine the equation of the new graph after the translation by 2 units upwards. So the new graph is going to become, it will be H of x is equal to 4 sine x. Then it's going to be moved 2 units upwards, so it will be plus 2. Alright? So we are moving the graph by 2 units up. So this point here, it moves to which value of y? This point here. Can someone tell us where does the maximum point end up being after the translation or the vertical shift by 2 units? To become y equal to what?
6.
Y equal to 6, thank you. And this point will become y equal to what?
-2.
-2, thank you. So when you calculate now the range, in fact, your range here is going to be y is an element, you're starting from -2 to 6. Then you are done. Because we are talking about range. But it will be difficult to find the range if your value of A is incorrect, and also you can't determine the correct equation of the graph. All right. Then let's talk about the last question quickly. So the last question, these are the 2 graphs. So the first one, this will be f of x equal to 2 tan x. And then the second one, this one here will be g of x equal to cos x plus 1. So check your graphs. The shapes were supposed to look like that. Right. Then we had to use these 2 graphs to determine, to answer some questions. And those questions were the following. Use the graphs to answer the following. Write down the amplitude of G, right? The amplitude for the cos graph. The amplitude for the cos graph is a 1. So amplitude is equal to 1. Then determine the period of f. Now, you don't have to think. The period of the tan graph is always 180 degrees. Any graph of tan in grade 10 has a period of 180 degrees. Then you need to determine the range of G. Now, the range of G, our minimum value is 0, maximum is 2. And then you are done. Right? Minimum is 0 here, maximum is 2 there. And then you are done. All right, so that's what you should have done.